in the County of Lawrence. NCTV45.
Hello and welcome once again to This Week in 3B Barons Baseball. Well, we're going to start off on Friday, July 8th, and the Butler Blue Sox in town up at Flaherty. Game 1 took place at 4 o'clock, and your 3B Barons mercy ruled the Blue Sox in the 5th inning. The first of 2 games, the Barons were led at the plate by Robert Herr, Connor Evans, both who captured 2 clutch hits, if you would, and each a triple. Robert Herr also supported the Barons by having 3 RBIs himself. Nico Hall assisted in the slaughter, recording 2 RBIs after his triple off the wall. And Bentrim came in with a clutch walk in the 5th and with a hit in the middle. On the mound, Hunter Santillo pitched 5 innings and gave up no runs. Hunter mowed down 4 Blue Sox in his performance. He battled with every pitch. So 5 complete innings for Hunter Santillo. Game 2 happening, and the Blue Sox, a natural game type of rival. Well, the second game, 12-6, as the Barons and the Blue Sox went back and forth the entire second game until at the end when the Barons put it all together. Today was National Ethan Bentrim Day at the plate, where Bentrim, he just was cleaning up, showcased his ability to rack up 3 hits, 5 RBIs. Ethan was accompanied by multi-hit Chase Tomko, Ben Dottle, who both tagged 2 hits themselves. J.A. Calero, fresh off a knee injury, came out and blasted 3 RBIs for himself. Brett Bobbin and Connor Evans were able to knock in RBIs themselves, each to help the Barons sweep the victory. The Barons we're going to host the Blue Sox again at Westminster on July 10th at 1 p.m. Now, with that, as we take a look, July 10th came, and the Barons in that game at Westminster at Flaherty Field on the 8th. Then on the 10th, 2 games at Westminster. They sweep the Blue Sox again, 6-3 and 5-3. So the Barons at that point in time in first place, looking really good, and upcoming, the Butler Iron Bucks. Now, this was a heck of a game, 17 innings, if you watched it on NCTV45. The first game, Butler Iron Bucks were victorious 2-3. And in the second game, your 3B Barons 4-2. Little first game action. Know that the Barons battled their tail off to stay with the Bucks. In game 2, the 4-2 win, exciting as it came down to the last moments. Caleb Lehman got the go-ahead RBI in the top of the 9th, and the Barons were on their way, taking 4 off the Blue Sox, winning 5 out of 6, and the 16th of July, up came the Du Bois Bucks. Now, we're going to take this break, and then we're going to be right back with more This Week in 3B Barons Baseball.
The Cedars Restaurant in Newcastle wants you to indulge in the food from their pleasing menu. The Cedars features Mediterranean, pub food, Middle Eastern cuisine, and so much more. They're open every day, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Call the Cedars on the east side at 827 Addis Street, Newcastle. 724-658-9543. That's 724-658-9543.
It's the sauce, it's the cheese, it's the ingredients, it's the crunch, it's Chubby's Pizza. Let's pizza again, like we did way back when. They use Augustine's ingredients.
If you're craving hot dogs and more, and you're in the area, then look no farther than Coney Island.
Hey, welcome back to This Week in 3B Barons Baseball. The 16th came around, the Barons looking unbearable to the competition as they post a 10-0 victory over the Du Bois Bucks. Jake Vitale, 6 shutout innings with 9 Ks. Okay, and wow. The Barons traveled to Du Bois to play their scheduled home game and walked off with Game 1 win in dominating fashion. Jake Vitale on the mound, as I said. The Bucks gave up 0 runs to the Bucks, leading the Barons to the win. At the plate, Shane Cato again, Anthony Little Bull Ryan, and Ethan Big Hits Bentram led the team with 2 hits each. Ethan Bentram captured 2 RBIs. Shane grabbed 4 RBIs after his bottom of the 6th walk-off grand slam to hurl the Barons into a victory due to the mercy rule. Okay, here comes Game 2, folks, up in Du Bois at Showers Field, 2:15. If you recall, a lot of warm weather. The Barons dropped this game 2-0 and really have themselves locked into first place. The Barons' bats fell asleep in Game 2. They got only 3 hits. The lack of hitting did not support Ryan Gibson or Ben Dottle, who came in and did their jobs. The next game, regular season game, before the playoffs, was the Youngstown Creekside Crocs, and the Barons trailed 7-0. The game was made up at Pendleton Field because of the rain, and you probably watched that on NCTV45, and the Barons hope to mount a comeback and build some momentum before the playoffs. Now, even going into the playoffs, that wasn't a worry. As the playoffs came and it found your 3B Barons in first place. And wow, what a great season the Barons were having. So with that, let's kind of get to the playoff picture. Well, the playoff picture put the Barons to play the Blue Sox on Saturday the 23rd, and then the Hawks in a doubleheader. This is a double elimination tournament, and the Barons really getting the top seed. So things were looking good for the Barons, and then things kind of got a little tricky. The Barons end up dropping the game as the game was moved to Austintown. The Barons dropped the first game, and then they dropped the second game against the Toledo Hawks. Now, I want to talk a little bit about that as when we come back, I'm going to give you that information. Let's take this break.
Hi, pizza friends. You can still find delicious Augustine's Pizza at your local supermarket. The folks at Augustine's Pizza hope that their pizza is always your first choice for any and all occasions.
Easy Clean Car and Van Wash, where your clean wash is our goal.
You're watching NCTV45, leading Penn, Ohio.
We're back, and we're going to get some team interviews and more. But first, let's talk about the two playoff games. After dominating, and I do mean dominating the Blue Sox, the law of averages caught up with the Barons as they dropped game one in the playoffs. That on the 23rd, 3-1. 5 o'clock start against Toledo, and that didn't fare so well either. Toledo 3, the Barons 2, and thus the Barons were eliminated from the playoffs. Now, we're going to go to some interviews with different personalities of the 3B Barons. So hang tight. Hello and welcome back to This Week in 3B Barons Baseball. And I'm with the head skipper, Eric. First of all, thanks for coming in, and thanks for a great season.
Thank you.
Totally appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Let's talk a little bit about this year. It was a phenomenal year.
Yeah, we had the amount of success I think we expected and needed, and the boys and the town really bought in, and you can't ask for anything better than that.
Now, opening up with the Butler Blue Sox, fireworks night, and the Barons win 14-3. How exciting was that inaugural game?
It was exciting, but I was so nervous that it was very hard to feel like excitement, because I was so focused on making sure as the coach I was prepared, and I was ready to be the best I could for the Barons as the players, and representing Newcastle and Lawrence County in Butler for that first game, and being that it was our first game in the league, I put a lot of pressure on myself to represent who we were going to be moving forward in that game. So I was excited, but I was also very nervous.
After, first of all, in the Cleveland game, which was a scrimmage, and I understand that, could we have gotten more rain?
Yeah, that was a, I don't know if people know, but that whole day was like, we're off, we're on, we're off, we're on, and it's like, hey, we have to drive to Cleveland. That's not like Shenango to Neshannock. So that started off weird, and then we got up there. We had a light load of guys, and we did take a tough loss. But I will say, I feel like that kind of put a little spark under us to show that we were not going to be able to sleep on any team.
You go into a 3-1 win, then comes the long trip down to Altoona, and you rebounded well in the second game. Even though it was a loss 13-12, I think that showed a lot about the team.
Yeah, I believe in the first game we were down a lot. We kind of fought back, and in the second game, I think at some point we were down 7-0, 8-0, and we battled all the way back. And honestly, that was kind of like the start of the battling Barons. We never felt like we were out of it. Even if you look at our record, I think we had like 4 or 5 losses by 1 or 2 runs.
Yeah.
So even the ones we lost that were close were great games. These guys, they battled their heart out, and you couldn't ask for anything else.
You go to Youngstown, win 2, and then there was the long trip out to Toledo. You'll drop 2 in Toledo and then win 2 in Toledo, and all of a sudden, by the end of June, you're starting to feel like, hey, we're in this thing.
Oh yeah, we started getting that momentum, that downhill momentum. Our pitchers, we started establishing the roles. We came into the year with a list of guys who were expected starters, and by end of June, that completely changed. Aside from maybe 2 of them, and the guys who fell into the starter roles or just had to pitch when they had to pitch, they did unbelievable during that stretch, and I couldn't put my heart on the line more for them during those games, because these were position players who might never pitch in the NCAA, right. And they were like absolutely anything the team needs, and anytime you have that, it's going to be a special season.
What was really great is then you come back, and from the 22nd and going into July, the last 4 games, you win 3 out of 4 in June. Mm-hmm. And then comes July. And I especially want to speak to, not glossing over Johnson Realty, but the Altoona Cummings Motors, when they came back, it was a little bit of revenge, as you really took them down. The first game, 10-9 win.
Kind of like a walk-off, I believe. It was pretty amazing. We were losing, I think, that game 7-0 or
right.
7-1 or 7-2 as well.
And then the next game you win 7-5. It was
still a battle too. Those guys. That Altoona Cumming Motors, they play in the AAA, and they actually do very well in that tournament, which is a national tournament, recognized tournament. And so those guys play baseball, and that really showed that our Lawrence County boys, a couple Beaver and Mercer boys, we can compete with anybody.
Then you came up against Youngstown, 1-2 against the Blue Sox on the 8th, and then it turned to Westminster College, and you took 2 more. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I was feeling a little cocky, because I'm looking and I'm saying, well, just on the screen, you've got 6 wins in a row. You're riding a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, I think we got it up to about 8 or 9 in a row.
Yeah,
something like that.
And it didn't look. It was 9 in a row. Didn't look. You looked invincible. Here come the Bucks. You go out to Pullman Park, split.
And they were the other than Altoona Cumming Motors, the Iron Bucks were definitely one of the top teams in the league that were just you couldn't make an error. You couldn't battle.
Right.
And those games at Pullman, actually, that first game was a 9-inning loss where, I don't throw names out there often, but Logan Ayers, who's a senior from Laurel this year, going to Gannon next year, came and pitched a 135-pitch, 9-inning game, battled for us. And there were some controversial calls in that game, that really could have swung us the other way. But it's the next game, the Iron Bucks game, that's the most exciting. Do you remember what happened that game?
The
skipper got kicked out.
Yes.
So I got kicked out in about the 7th inning of that game. We were losing by 1. Wouldn't you believe that our team battles back and comes
wins
back in the 9th inning? So that was a great weekend that, again, showed that these guys battle and they have heart, and you look for that in a team.
You split with the Du Bois Bucks, and then you're going into the playoffs. And this was almost a Pittsburgh Pirate, Atlanta type thing where you beat them all year.
6 games.
And they just came up with a win.
Yeah, it's hard to swallow. It sucks, man. I've been watching the captain, but Derek Jeter, and he was talking about the loss to the Red Sox in 2004, and it's just like, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Yeah. But no, Butler Blue Sox. We pushed them around a little bit those first two games, and I think the third game we played them. But the last three games we played them, they were way more competitive. And even going into that playoff game, being that we were down a couple players, I had a weird feeling in my stomach that if we don't hit and we don't put 5 runs up, it's going to be a tough game. And, you know, their pitcher that they pitched, kudos to him. Absolute stud. I believe he was pitching either high-level Division II or D1. He shut us down. He kept the ball high, threw hard, and we weren't disciplined enough to sit back and you know, keep our hands high and wait. But the playoff system next year should be a little bit different, depending on, you know, a couple factors, and we'll have a better opportunity. It was kind of like you lose one, you're out, which was bittersweet coming in first place in the league. But hey, everybody else had the same rules. Everybody else had to play on the same field. Everybody else had the same umpire. So we can't sit here and be crybabies. We lost. We're going to swallow it, and we're going to get ready for next year.
Talk about the ballpark as and I'm going to use the word historic Flaherty Field.
Oh man, I keep it personal to start. I grew up on Dewey Avenue, which is right behind it. My uncle, Coach Q, used to play there, and then he coached there for a couple years. I used to drink the hose water from there. I used to get cuts and bruises on the batting cage there during games. The Larry Chaffee Memorial Game was held there for many years, where you know, my family was a part of, and I used to like literally look at that game of Westminster versus Clarion as the World Series. So I have a really deep-rooted connection to that field, along with the city's connection to that field. It's been here since the 40s, late 40s, early
48.
50s. Yeah, 48. There were minor league fields. I believe there was a couple leagues, minor league teams, and other leagues.
The Indians,
yeah,
the Tigers, and the Washington Senators minor league teams all played there.
So Barron's having an opportunity to be a promotional local team that could grow on that field. It's a blessing, you know, and to be the head coach and to be the guy who's running and operating it. It's almost like, you know, it was meant to be. So yeah, I love that field. There's so much more to come. Everybody who's watching, just wait. You know, 10 years from now, you're going to look at that field and be like, wow, you know, like he called it. But you know, we're gonna really make it something.
It's
Definitely.
a great thing. I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And this is the final episode for this week in 3B Barons baseball. And I just want to say thanks to the Barons. It's been a great year. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Everything from the away games, the home games, and we look forward to next season.
I'm excited. Hope to see you guys out there. And Angela, thank you again, man.
Keep watching NCTV45. We'll air Barons baseball. And for this week in 3B Barons baseball, I'm Angelo Parada. Anytime on your time, it's NCTV45.
Today's programming is brought to you by NCTV45 and NC Radio 450, Newcastle's community television station.
At our law firm, we see you. Come see us at lgkg.com.
There's more than meets the eye.